Hey, what's up, guys? And ToNoAvaiL, another show of the Infinite Cosmos. We have a great show for you guys today. As you know, science and religion have butted heads for centuries. Since the days of Copernicus to Galileo being tried for treason, there has never been a time in our history where the two have been seen on an eye-to-eye basis. Today, I bring my friend Candice to talk on the show to explain the common ground in finding a collaboration between the two. While I have always thought putting the two in the same sentence would be much like career suicide, honestly, Candice brings in her more than amazing mind to help us understand science and religion together, broken down into an intellectual conversation to help you guys, the listeners, understand how these two can actually be worked together for future collaboration between the two. I mean, it's got to happen. To me, I believe science and religion, I think they've always worked together myself, or they should work together. I mean, religion, I know, is a blind faith. Science, you've got to have proof. But aren't they the same?
Okay. Anyway, so I've got Candice on the line. Candice?
Yes, hi.
How's it going?
Hi, everyone. I'm good.
Good. She is getting, what is it, your second master's in sociology?
My second master's is in psychology. My first is in sociology, yeah.
You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Actually the second one is for my job, but I'm hoping to finish my second master's and use that to open a business. And I will be doing, hopefully, counseling and therapy.
Yeah, that's very awesome. That is so awesome. Good for you.
Thank you.
You live in Chicago now, correct?
That is correct.
Awesome. You used to live in Tulsa, didn't you?
I did. I grew up in Tulsa.
Oh, nice.
Born and raised.
We went to school together. We
did. Edison Eagle, Edison, and we also went to street school together.
That's awesome. I'm glad that you're doing so well, and it's very awesome.
Did you graduate from street school? I just have a question.
I did. Yes, I did.
Awesome. What year did you graduate from there?
It was in 96, I believe. 97. The keys to the car. Sorry, I got to stand up.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I graduated from there. It was like 96, 97. But yeah, it was really, oh, cool. Thank you. But yes, and I totally remember you. It's so awesome to be able to run into you again, and that you are doing so well. Everybody in Tulsa is so proud of you. Anybody that can do that and get out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, I'm telling you, man, Tulsa, as you would know, is it's like a sticky glue trap. You cannot get out of here. It's very hard.
You just leave if you want to.
Right. That's so true.
The world is a large place. Anywhere you go is home. I mean, I could go anywhere and live anywhere, I think. So, yeah. And I've lived lots of places.
I mean, yeah, you are exactly right, too. That is so true. I mean, you just gotta have the drive. I moved out of here, went to Seattle for 5 years, and man, I loved it, but I had to come back for my little kiddo, which was...
That's good. That's amazing. That's really great. Although I think Seattle would probably be nicer than Tulsa. Hello? Joel?
Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. It went silent for a minute, so I don't know if you just had a bad signal, maybe?
Oh yeah, I did. I just got in my car to sit in the air conditioning, and I bet that's why. Can you still hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, awesome. I appreciate you coming on. This is and you know what? You are my first guest as far as coming on my show.
Amazing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited. I don't know, since you're recording this, if you're going to add some music, but I would put Intergalactic Planetarium.
Yes, you're very awesome. Yeah.
Intergalactic Planetarium, Intergalactic. Yeah.
Man, hey, you got good taste in it. That's awesome. That's way awesome. Well, very awesome. Well, man, let's kind of get right into this. So you having you're getting your second master's.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about your background in religion.
So, generally there's like two formats of religion. When you grow up, you're kind of socialized into a religion some of the times not into religion.
Yeah.
And so I grew up, of course, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is pretty much the Christian capital of the U.S. There's all types of Christians there, mostly evangelical. But there's a lot of different types of Christians there. I mean, it's considered the Bible Belt. So my influence with religion growing up was mostly, Christian beliefs. And, my parents were more Christian but agnostic Christians.
Yeah.
And then when I started college, I became interested in religion because of the war on terror, because of 9/11. And, so I was actually starting my associate's degree at TCC in Middle Eastern Studies. And
wow.
I was really curious, like, why people would hate our freedom.
Right.
Why they, I mean, I think our country's pretty great. So, like, why would they hate us,
Right. Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah. So I really, 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 really wanted to read, like, a Quran and, things about the beliefs of the Middle East. And in school, we didn't really cover those types of things. We didn't have, like, in-depth things on the beliefs of people from the Middle East. So I actually ended up finding a Quran and then going to a mosque for like a year, and I was studying
awesome.
it. Yeah.
So you actually went firsthand and delved into it. That's really cool. That's really awesome.
Yeah. I think anybody who knows me personally or knows about me knows that I've been a Muslim for like 20 years or so. And that was because, well, when I was young, I was a seeker, I guess. So yeah, you're born into religion, or you can be a seeker. Some people just go with what their parents were, right? What they've been socialized as. But so I guess you could call me a seeker at that time.
That's really awesome, man.
Yeah.
I think that I commend you 100% for that, because a lot of people, will listen to what their parents say, or and they will just kind of blindly follow just because their parents did, with like religion and with like politics. They're like, I don't know why, but my dad's a Republican, so I'm just gonna be a Republican. You know what I mean? And some people are like, well, my dad raised me Catholic, so I'm just gonna be Catholic. And you actually dove all in and went in for yourself to experience to see if that's what you wanted.
So ultimately, all of my experiences for 20 years, it's been a lot, but I decided to study more about why people do the things they do. So I studied sociology in undergrad and in graduate school with my first master's, and I studied religious sociology. So I studied all about how people engage in religion, how religion is affecting society. And, I got more in depth about other different religions, studying basically the cosmos, right? So that's awesome. What we're here to talk about today is the cosmos and religion.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, good, man. I thank you for that background. You should be very proud of yourself. I think it's amazing. I think, if most people did what you did, I think that we would have a higher percentage of educated people. And a lot of people don't do that, including myself. I kind of screwed off school and didn't. I wish that I would not have. You know what I mean? But that's very awesome. Good, man. You should be very proud of yourself.
I think most people are pretty comfortable with keeping their own beliefs, and with society, sometimes not a lot of people are open-minded. Not a lot of people are seekers who want to know more, and especially in 2000-ish, around that time, whenever I changed my religion, that was just a few years after 9/11, and it was closer to like 2004, 2005 when I changed my religion. Most people were thinking Muslims are all scary and bad, but, there's billions of them in the world. I mean, there's 52 nations that are predominantly Muslim. Like the U.S. is predominantly, I would say the U.S. is predominantly different strokes, different folks. And that's what it is, different strokes, different folks. So, but there's 52 nations that are Muslim nations. And there's Muslims in every nation, in every country on the planet, pretty much, except for maybe North Korea. Maybe.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe there are. Who knows?
Yeah. I didn't know. Man, I get to learn a lot from you in this. I didn't know that there were that many. 52? That's awesome.
52 predominantly Muslim majority countries, yes.
Wow. That's man, that's incredible. God, this is gonna be fun because I get to learn a lot from you. Good. That's awesome. Well, very good.
Yeah, actually, there's more Muslims in the world than there are American citizens. And
really?
Yes.
Really? Wow.
Yes. So I'm actually part of the majority. Americans are not necessarily the majority among belief systems in the world, you know. I mean, like Christianity is a top religion, but so is Islam, Judaism. I don't know how that ranks, but, you know, I mean, I feel like religion is different strokes, different folks for everyone everywhere. It just depends on how homogenous your community is, where you're from, how closed off they are from the rest of the world, if there's a lot of diversity or not a lot of diversity. It just depends on a lot of factors. You know, it's not black and white.
Absolutely, yeah. Oh yeah, and plus it can be a suicidal career, you know, depending on what it is, a suicidal career move, suicidal conversation, you know. A lot of people, it takes a certain person to be able to talk and keep a level head when it comes to religion, you know what I mean? Because a lot of people are so stuck in their beliefs that it's like all that, and they will fight to you know, even if it's not just their way of belief, but to get other people to believe. You know what I'm saying? Like how it.
Yeah, some people are very strong in their convictions, and they can be what I call religiously annoying.
Yeah, right.
You know, proselytizing, trying to force it on you, like always trying to convince you or something like that. And I'm just like, whoa, like, thank you. I'm glad you're so excited, but different strokes, different folks, man.
Right.
Back up.
Yeah, exactly. And that's awesome to keep a level head and you know, it takes a certain person to you know, to be able to do that. A lot of people do. They freak out, and man, I've seen some really bad conversations go south because you know, because of it. But man, good for you, man. You sound like you've got a very, very good head on your shoulders. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, religion. I know these topics like religion and space. How do they go together? Well, when you talk about religion, we're talking about deeply held convictions, and this is how people explain their universe, right? So if you look into the history of religion, people are always looking to space and the cosmos, and that's how they explain, you know, what they believe. And so that is their entire universe, usually. And so whenever you think about space and you think about the cosmos, you know, you think about something that is deeply held convictions of people's universe, basically.
Right, yeah. Well, let me ask you, with all the school, with all the you know, degrees and all this stuff, what man, what do you think? Let's see. Let me just get into this. But that's not the right one. I'm sorry, I had that on the wrong page. So, what do you think? How do you feel that science is affecting religion, or vice versa, in today's world? I mean, with you know, you've got the new age where, I mean, people are claiming now that God is an alien.
God is an alien?
Yeah, that he is our creator. It's been an alien the whole time, not Jesus, not God. God is.
Well, that's an interesting idea. That's
right.
for sure. Well, who's to say he's not, right? I mean,
right.
or her,
yeah,
or they. Maybe God's or they, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, science and religion, they're mutually exclusive, or mutually complementary of each other in nature, basically. Not mutually exclusive. They're complementary in nature. Science provides an explanation for the material world, and religion usually offers insight into deeper meaning and the purpose of life. So there's a symbiotic relationship that allows individuals to embrace both rationality and transcendence with their journey for truth and significance in life, right?
Absolutely.
So religion is often praised as something transformative. It's a transformative power that provides different avenues for religious experience, and it helps to uncover the universality of you know, different traditions, right? So every religion, different strokes, different folks have various traditions. And so basically religious belief and rituals, they give people a sense of purpose and their understanding of their place in the cosmos. And so, like, this place is sacred. And so when you think about sacred places, right, there's a word for it called Imago Mundi. Okay? There's a scholar, his name is Mircea Eliade. He was a scholar at the University of Chicago, and I don't know if I said that right, but he came up with this term, Imago Mundi. So that means, I think it's Latin actually. It's the sacred place. So you can see this in different religions, how people organize around that sacred space. And in Orthodox or very like dogmatic religions that are very defined, Christianity, Judaism, Islam. Like Islam, we have Mecca, right? The holiest place is the place of prayer. And in Judaism, that's the Wailing Wall. And Christianity, that is, I don't know what it is in Christianity, actually. You can help me there.
Yeah.
I think it's everywhere. Different strokes, different folks for Christians. Everywhere.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do. I think you're exactly right there, too. Yeah, I know which one you're talking about in Islam. Isn't that the big wall, the wall they have over that they
that's Judaism. Yeah, the Wailing Wall is
my bad.
It's in Jerusalem.
That's
yeah.
What I'm thinking. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, in Israel.
Way
yeah.
off. Yes, I wish that I would have got more, taught myself more into the religious, the different religions and the faith behind it and which one. I really do wish. I guess it's not too late, but I would kill to be where you are as far as knowledge and having a good base of religion, on my belt, because it's what's ran the world for centuries. Hundreds of centuries, decades. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
It's something.
Well, at least as long as humans have been around.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And
our planet's billions of years old, so out of the entire billions of years, humans have only been around for a very short while.
Oh man, yeah, it's like God. If you had a calendar, we would be at December 31st of the whole thing. I think probably the last few seconds of December 31st.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not even. That's why with this show I wanted to do this so bad. And thank you so much for coming on and doing this, because this is so tight. I've had people ask me, look, why would you bring religion? Why would you do that with a show about the universe? And it's like these two go together. They're tied to each other. It's a completely. I'm trying not to cuss. Sorry, I almost did. I try not to cuss on my shows. My mom listens to these.
Well, shit. Oh.
I know, right? Fuck, Mom. Fuck. I'm just kidding. I think then I wish that I did have the knowledge at least more, but I guess it's not too late. I'm going to learn a lot from this. I've been really excited about doing this too. Very excited.
For one of the explanations of Imago Mundi, the most sacred place, that would explain the cosmos, like Mecca. People do pilgrimage there every year. They go and they do their rituals around the Kaaba, which is the holy house that's believed to be built by Abraham, right? So they believe Abraham built that with his son Ishmael and Isaac. Yeah, I think that's the sons, Ishmael and Isaac. And so they believe that's the first church in the history of holy houses, right? So they go and they do the pilgrimage there. Another example is in Jerusalem, right next to the Wailing Wall, there's a mosque. And they have this mosque built around this rock that has an imprint into it. And that is believed to have the footprint of Gabriel, the angel. And so in Islamic teachings anyways, they teach that the Prophet Muhammad, he went to the heavens. He had prayed about how many times somebody should pray in a day, because he was praying a lot and there was no definition of prayer. And so he had this mythical creature, El-Barak, which is a flying horse, dog, dragon thing, I don't know, that supposedly picked him up, took him from Saudi Arabia to where Jerusalem is, and they touched down there, and Gabriel came down and got him and took him to the heavens. So he's supposedly visited the heavens, and then he went to the different levels of heaven, because there are 7 levels of heaven, and he went all the way to the top until he got to see Moses or something like that. He didn't see God directly, because in the belief only Moses has ever seen God, but he went to the 7th heaven, where Moses is at, and Moses had talked to God and told him, you should pray so many times a day. And anyways, they went back and forth, and then they ended up agreeing on 5 times a day.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so where Gabriel landed on that rock apparently is the footprint of Gabriel. So they built a mosque. Yeah, they built a mosque around that, and so it's considered the Holy Land, and so that's why there's a lot of contention around Palestine and Israel, especially in Jerusalem. Yeah, because they consider that the Holy Land. Yeah.
Wow, and that's that's cool. Oh wow, that's really cool.
Yeah. So that mosque is actually called Al-Quds, the Dome of the Rock.
Al-Quds, the Dome of the Rock. Is that where they have the meteorite? Is that in the same area where they have that meteor? Is it a meteor that they have there that they all like?
Everyone touches it. So that is actually a part of the Abrahamic mosque.
Okay.
Yeah, the Kaaba. That's in Saudi Arabia. That's where everyone does their pilgrimage. So, yeah, the holy pilgrimage is there.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to change the...
oh, no, it's okay. Yeah, so, usually if there's historical relevance, it's a holy land, and so Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, they all share holy land and historical meaning, I guess, there in Palestine and Israel and Jerusalem. So I think a lot of Christians go there to go to visit the different sites and stuff like that, because the Church of Bethlehem is there.
That's cool.
Yeah, so you're talking about somebody's purpose in life, their whole existence, and that's their universe, and so that's the cosmos. And when you're thinking about the heavens and prayer, that's what the meaning is. But a lot of religions, they take the skies and they take the stars and they give meaning to their beliefs from space, right? From the heavens.
Yeah. And I just think it's fascinating. It just blows my mind that it blows my mind too. I mean, because there were religion was spread out globally, and back then we didn't have, airplanes and telephones and ways of communication, but it all still, for the most part, was all, still, it was prominent to their way of life, and they all they didn't study the same beliefs, but all in all together, I mean, they still did kind of the same thing, and nobody had to teach them that. It was just something that was there. Of course, if you get into the ancient alien things, they say that, aliens are the ones that taught them that, and blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And it gets into that conspiracy thing where that's why they could all, it's like all these religions, they all built pyramids, but, all the way across the world from each other, and these pyramids were used as religious type of, symbolisms, and that's one of the big things where everyone's like, it's not like they had boats or a telephone call and say, hey, we're building this pyramid over here. You guys want to build one too? I'm sure your God probably wants one too, or you know what I mean? Like, and they all sort of it was all based on that. So that's kind of why all the new age, these people that are ancient alien type people are saying that, that's why the only thing that could have spread that worldwide were aliens, because they had spaceships that could fly out of, all over. But, that's just whatever, I'm not.
I have a cousin who believed that when I was a kid. I remember him telling me how everything was created. He said aliens came down and they dropped some DNA and then it developed and then we ended up becoming alive and stuff like that or something.
Yeah. Weird
good explanation.
Yeah. It's a big growing thing, and that honestly it kind of makes more sense to me. Instead of just kind of the poof, we went from monkeys to all of a sudden we think on our own. We're thriving as a species more than any animal on Earth. We're communicating with each other. But I don't know. I mean, I can't say that's what I believe. I kind of am a believer in everything until it's debunked in front of me, and then I'm like, okay.
Well, that's the other topic of science, and so how science is affecting a religion. Well, so we understand, as humans, we try to give meaning to our life, so that's our universe, and the cosmos, a lot of times stars and the planets and all of that provide different meaning, like a cosmic outlook. But with science, there's people who don't hold religious views, so agnostic people or atheists, a lot of times they challenge those traditional beliefs with science, and science a lot of times changes views of religious beliefs. And I have some examples. The Copernican revolution was in the 16th century. Nicholas Copernicus, I don't know if I said that right. He challenged the prevailing, he challenged the prevailing geocentric model of the universe, which placed the Earth at the center. So he had a heliocentric model that placed the sun at the center of the universe, and that contradicted long-held religious beliefs derived from biblical scriptures.
Absolutely.
And
Heretic. I mean, not heretic. He was basically strung by that. You know.
It shifted religious cosmology, and people started to reevaluate, religious perspective and their religious interpretations.
Yeah. It changed everything. And man, back in the day, to say that, man, you were in severe, deep shit. You know, if not killed immediately for having those beliefs. You know.
I think Galileo was killed for his beliefs. I'm not sure, but I think he was.
Yeah, he was. He was definitely. He was shunned, only to find out, man, he was 100% right. I mean, as you know, obviously, but it's amazing how that was, what was that in the 1400s or something, and now here we are in the 2000s. He was exactly right, and some, you know, it's crazy. It's really crazy. It's even like, you know, if they said that there were other planets like we find now, like exoplanets, man, just 20 years ago, they were the only planets we knew about were the ones that were in our solar system. And one of those, Pluto, I remember being in school, Pluto was the 9th planet that I learned was in our solar system, and now that's not even a planet now. I don't know, just a dumb example, but yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, it's, and those things, Copernicus, all of them, they like you said, we were in the center of the galaxy. You know, we find out, man. God, it's just God, man. Now, God, could you imagine if they were alive now to see what we found out? My God.
Yeah. So Galileo's from the 17th century, and
yes. Thank you.
Yeah, and let's see here. So he theorized that the Earth revolves around the sun, and this became a big conflict for the Catholic Church specifically.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think they were going to have we were having it either. It was that was a really big change in history for the for the Catholic religion.
Yeah, so he definitely revolutionized the understanding of the cosmos.
It was nuts. It was really nuts.
Yeah, and then we have Charles Darwin's theory of evolution.
Absolutely.
He published that in the mid-19th century, and that provides a scientific explanation for the development of life on Earth. And this clashed with literal interpretations of religious creation stories. And, of course, still to today, everyone knows about Charles Darwin. He's always sparking debates, and, of course, that deepens the divides between some religious groups and people who believe in evolutionary science.
Right, yes. Yes. Man, you get to lead this. You're nailing it. You are nailing it.
Some of the other examples, like the Enlightenment, that was from the 17th century and 18th century. The rise of the Enlightenment actually came from the Muslim world. A lot of people don't know that, but while Europe was in the Dark Ages, the Muslim world was in their brightest days, I guess, you know. And the Enlightenment, they had advanced scientific knowledge. They had scientists. They invented, like, universities, the first universities in the Muslim world. I believe it was developed in Morocco by a lady. And Alexandria, the Great Library of Alexandria, that was burned down, you know, when Cleopatra was the queen.
Yeah.
There was a lot of engineers, a lot of, like, old knowledge there, and a lot of, like, even medicine, engineering, science, mathematics. I think the camera, those technologies all came from, during the Enlightenment period, that came from the Muslim world.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yes, it influenced thinking in Europe and in the Dark Ages. It helped bring Europe out of the Dark Ages, actually.
Really?
Yes.
That is awesome, man. I didn't know that.
The Golden Age, I think, is what they call it, the Muslim Golden Age, yeah.
Yeah, it is. Oh, wow. That's cool.
But most people, really, they only know about the Enlightenment. That was the philosophical movement where reason and logic and empirical observation, where the scientific method was more embraced to explain, things going on. And that, of course, it challenged all of religious dogma, and, it does affect the world. It makes things change.
Yeah. Oh, man, most definitely. And, I mean, without those changes, we would never be where we are today.
Absolutely.
I mean, those are the most. I mean, people are like Thomas Edison, all that. He was the biggest change. Of course, he was one of the worst people I think ever. But those things are more important than what like Thomas, did. You know what I'm saying? Like those are what brought us out of what we would be the dark age. I mean, to the enlightenment of of the knowledge of what we know today. I mean, and what's sad? Like you just said, a lot of people don't know what you had just said, and that's sad because that's the kind of stuff that we need to be learning about. Those are the kind of things that should be in text, and the things that should be the things that we're teaching society. Mm-hmm. It's those things that to me that are important. That's the information schools should be teaching. I'm against the
you don't like the whitewashed, Americanized, patriotic version of history.
Oh God, well, it's like the worst joke of a nightmare. God, I cannot believe that it's even. And people get so mad that it's almost like people get mad about if that's not what they're teaching, then schools are wrong and they get upset about it. It's like, man, it's like people want to be misinformed, or and it's sad because and man, God, I would love to have you on here all the time because you're teaching this is the things that I would teach my son these things. You know what I mean? Like. I think it's important.
I think Pink Floyd said it right. Hey, teacher, leave those kids alone.
Right,
It's all brainwashed.
Yeah, it really is, man. It is. It's sad. It's so sad. God, it's so sad. I love the amount of knowledge you have. And man, go. God, I'm super glad. Thank you so much for getting on here.
Like going into the cosmology of things and religion, the Big Bang Theory also came out in the 20th century, and that was to shed light on what is the origins of the universe, right? And so, of course, a lot of people think of the show The Big Bang Theory and Sheldon.
Yeah.
Penny,
Yeah. I love that show.
Yeah. The scientific understanding often clashes with religious creation stories, too.
That is, you know what? Oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, that's one of the biggest. That's one of the things that I couldn't wait to ask you. So, what do you think? In your opinion, what do you think? Do you think with the Big Bang Theory, not show, but the big? Do you think? How do you think that really kicked off for the religious? I mean, was that something religion? Old scholars, do you think that was something that does that throw out the whole God created us, or do you think that it shadows and goes with it? Do you know what I mean? Am I asking that correctly?
So a lot of religious scholars and scholarship in different faiths actually had to revisit their belief system. And so one of the things that I like to call with the religious justification for things is mental gymnastics of religion. A lot of times religion is just philosophy, and so there's no concrete answers. I mean, there's people who take things literally from the Bible or the Quran or from the Torah, like literal interpretation, but most of the scholars, they do not. And so there's a lot of times lacking information. And so they rely on scholars to kind of fill in the gaps, right? So it's like mental gymnastics.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of people, they rejected the Big Bang Theory, but then some people said, okay, well, just because it's the Big Bang doesn't mean that God didn't do it, right? So now we have God doing the Big Bang. So yeah.
Right,
so I mean, who's to say that's not true? Who's to say it is true or not true, right? So
yeah, right.
Yeah. So technically, it's not a scientific fact. It's opinion because it's philosophy. It's just a belief.
Exactly. It is only.
Yeah, and even the Big Bang Theory is considered a theory. It's not proven yet. So
people are set like, that's what happened. That's, but really it is not set in stone. It's the only theory that makes sense to philosophers and to scientists, but it's not the answer. It's, there's I think there's 4 or 5. Have you you've heard the theory that this is a simulation? That this is have you heard that one?
Oh, that we're in a computer simulation?
Yeah, this is all just a computer simulation.
Well, that would be great, actually.
Right, I know,
and
right?
They can simulate us on Earth. They could simulate us on Mars, and we could just go there and be there, right?
Exactly. And see, that's the thing is, we already are on Mars, according to this theory.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh yeah. And like, okay, and the basis behind this, are there's rules set in motion. You know, there's rules that are set, like galaxies. There's galaxies. I think we that's 60 billion light years across, right? And there's all these galaxies that are hundreds of thousands of light years. Well, we can never get to those. We would never be able to get to those. And so, the theory is that these are written so far out in this simulation that we would never be able to get to them. And then there's laws and there's rules such as
at least not now.
Light. Exactly,
not now.
At least not now.
Until our non-human biologicals give us their technology for moving their spacecraft for 1,600 meters per second.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there's like the speed of light. There's a law to the speed of light. Nothing can go faster than the speed of light. So in the simulation, that being said, that is like a governed rule that we'll never be able to. It just kind of that stays at that. Of course, with me, here's my thing. This is how I know that, or this is why I think we're in a simulation. Do you ever see your neighbors taking in groceries?
I do not. No. I
course,
have nosy neighbors who always sit outside too, and they're always waving. They always wave hi to me.
Yeah, but you never see them carrying in groceries.
No.
You know, and then also, like, you've heard of the Mandela effect?
No.
No? Okay. Do you remember when? Okay, you remember the Berenstain Bears, right?
No.
No. Okay, it was a kid's book. It was called the Berenstain Bears. When I was young, I used to read it, and it was spelled Berenstain is like B-E-A-R-E-N-E-I-S. No, Berenstain. B-E-N. It was S-T-E-I-N. Berenstain Bears. Well, now it's spelled Berenstain. S-T-A-I-N. But I remember it being spelled Berenstain. But even if I went back to the books that I had as a kid, I would look and it would be spelled A-I-N. And it's the reason, and so it's like a glitch in the matrix, kind of what it's saying. They messed up in that glitch. The whole time it's been A-I-N, Bears, but I remember when I was young it was E-I-N. Do you remember like Jiffy? Okay, wait, let me back up for a second and let me ask you this. Okay, the reason it's called the Mandela effect. Mandela, do you know who? Mandela, he was the. Do you know who what's his first name? I'm going to sound so stupid on this. Something Mandela. He died in prison. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know Mandela, the president of South Africa.
That's who I'm talking about.
He was in prison, but he got out and became president.
Okay, well, some people believe that he died in prison. There's a whole group of people that say that he died in prison. Other people say that he didn't, and he was the president, and he went on to be president of Cuba. You know what I mean? And but some people just don't believe that because they remember he was in prison. So that's two different things that people remember. So how could that and so that being said, it's like hey, what's up? I'm doing a podcast thing. So that's like that's one of the theories that there was a glitch in the matrix. You know what I mean? Do you remember like in Star Wars, Luke, I am your father?
Yeah.
Okay, he never said that. Do you remember
Darth Vader never said that. Luke, I am your father.
Yeah, never did say it. Do you remember? Jiffy peanut butter?
Yeah.
There's never been a Jiffy peanut butter. Do you remember stovetop stuffing?
Yes.
It's not that. It was made by. That doesn't exist. It's made by Kraft.
Oh, really? Okay.
But see, I remember all these things. And
well, there could be another explanation for this. If you really want to get into physics and stuff like that, there's alternative dimensions and stuff like that.
That's what they think it is we're going in and out of dimensions. And that's what
that might be why our non-biological friends can fly so fast in different angles that are not, like, humanly possible for our aircraft.
I'm sorry?
That is not humanly possible for our aircraft. So, like whenever they're zigzagging in the sky and they say, wow, it moves so fast, and they can't maneuver a plane or any kind of aircraft like that, so it's not natural.
Yeah.
So I think they're moving through multiple dimensions. Does that make sense? Hello? 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 I think the phone went out.
You know how it works.
There you are.
Oh, did I cut
sorry.
out?
Yeah, you cut out. Yeah, so,
sorry.
multiple dimensions, the fourth dimension, the fifth dimension, the sixth dimension. Maybe they can bounce through different dimensions, and that's why it looks like to us they're moving so fast,
Yeah, I see. That's kind of what I'm saying. Can you hear me? Hang on, my thing's cutting out. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, my thing cut out. My phone cut out. I'm sorry about that.
For Nelson Mandela. So for Nelson Mandela, I do believe he became president and he got out and everything. And, so, I mean, I'm sure there is a lot of, different perspective and different things like that could say that things are glitchy. And, I mean, certainly if you have, mental disorders and stuff like this, that's probably how the world seems all the time sometimes.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. And there's a million other ones, I do got to say, I remember Jiffy Peanut Butter, though. I remember that. But they say, and you remember Mirror on the Wall? Who's the fairest of them all?
Oh, yeah.
Or Magic Mirror on the Wall?
Beauty or Cinderella or something.
Yeah, well, it was never Magic Mirror on the Wall. It was something else. And it's like, dude, I totally remember that being Mirror on the Wall. It's weird, but check it out. Look it up sometime. It's pretty interesting, but
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. But that's one of the glitch things where they say that we're going in and out of different universes or whatever. Yeah,
certainly. I will look that up. But for religion being changed by science, I mean, one of the things that happened with the Catholic Church, the Jesuit institutions, the Jesuit tradition in Catholic belief, it was actually developed in Rome in 1551 because they wanted to reconcile scientific knowledge and religious teachings. So that is just one way religion was changed to harmonize, I can't pronounce it, harmonize Catholic doctrine and, to change the gap between science and religion. And so a lot of times universities and educational institutions like that, Jesuit institutions, they impacted the change of adapting scientific inquiry and adding religious teaching together.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, that's really cool. God, that's really interesting.
Yeah, so it was the golden age in the Islamic era that impacted the Enlightenment in Western Europe or in Europe. And during that time, the scientific advancements was astronomy, mathematics, medicine, and optics. And so science was a part of religious practice in that you could practice scientific inquiry, and that would not diminish your religious beliefs.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's really cool.
Yeah. So
I did not know that.
They developed Islamic cosmology, and of course, in the Buddhist world, they have Buddhist cosmology. The Hindu world has Hindu or Vedic astrology.
Sorry. All right, go ahead.
Oh yeah. So just to name, the different kinds of impacts of the Islamic Golden Age. The Islamic cosmology, that's where they had advances in astronomy and cosmology, delving into religious practice. And so, for instance, the prayer is timed with the times of day, like the sunrise, the sun at midpoint, the sun sets. And so, not at those times, but close by those times, all around the world is calculated. So, at every moment of every day, there's people praying in every part of the world, depending on where the sun is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's really
they're not worshiping the sun. They just have it timed to be the 5 daily prayers, right? And so I can't imagine how it is somewhere where it's sunshine all day long. How did they do that? I don't know.
Right.
I mean, yeah, but there's always somebody praying somewhere in the world. And
that's really cool.
Yeah. And then Islamic bioethics was developed out of scientific advancements and medical research in the Muslim world. And so things like stem cell research, end-of-life care, Islamic principles and ethics and religious texts, they navigated bioethics and challenges in the framework of the Islamic teachings.
Wow.
Yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, I love how educated you are on this. I'm absolutely, I have the utmost respect for you. I mean, I love people that are so into their, I mean, obviously this is something you have a passion for to go and, learn about it. Um,
Yeah.
and it's awesome. Man, that's so awesome. I love, it's people like you that this is what it's good for our kids to see, because that's what, they hear this and they're like, man, that's going to school and doing all that, it's worth it. I just commend, a lot of respect for you. I think it's awesome. I think it's really awesome. Oh no.
Yeah. So one thing in Buddhism is the cognitive processes. So science has informed their way of tradition, right? So they do meditation, mindfulness practices a lot of times. And then even the Dalai Lama, he has actively collaborated with scientists to foster dialogue between Buddhism and science. And so they have developed the fields of cosmology and neuroscience.
Oh,
wow. The Hindu world, one of the things that you see from the Hindu world is yoga, and yoga is rooted in Hindu philosophy, but many practitioners have embraced the means of physical fitness and mental well-being, and scientific research has explored the benefits of yoga. And so it actually reduces stress, it improves your flexibility, it improves your cardiovascular health, and you know what? In the Hindu world, they actually have a university that is a medical university where they prescribe yoga for things, like everything.
Really? I believe it. I do believe it. I really do. I mean, I think yoga is I think it is absolutely very, very good for you. I mean, for your body and for the different chakras and the different things that One thing that I actually did this show on it the other day, and this is pure like conspiracy type things, but that there is a group of people that have put all of our textbooks, all of our all the literature, textbooks, all the history books are all on what's good for our bodies. And of course, who knows if all that's true. Of course, I think they say it's the lizard people that did this. But it's like some of that I believe. I mean, when I was in school, I was taught that Christopher Columbus found America.
Mhm.
Only to find out that was bullshit.
I think Native Americans, indigenous people, they discovered America.
Oh, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, they don't talk about that. They it's always brought up to that it was Christopher Columbus was the one that found America, and he was the one that
Hello? 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 Hello?
So, hello? Okay. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, it did cut out.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I was just saying how I cannot believe how the old text, when I was in school, the misinformation that they taught us, that Christopher Columbus found America, and that all this misinformation. I mean, and it's like Thomas Edison found the light bulb and found the electricity. I mean, only Tesla probably was found free. But he couldn't.
Tesla did work for Edison, and Edison was the owner of the product.
yeah, right. I mean, and then it goes. There's so much stuff that goes to it, but it's like we were taught absolutely this the wrong information, and it just blows my mind that that's how, I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah. Well, in religion,
it's crazy.
In religion, the cosmology is the purpose of the universe, is the reason you're living, and so it includes different realms, the gods, supreme beings, and also human life within the cosmos, within the universe. Astrology developed out of religion, and their relationship is that the belief of astrology puts positions and movement into celestial bodies that can influence human behavior and events on Earth. So that's why people like to look at astrology, and a lot of religions. Hinduism does very closely. The Jewish tradition of mysticism and Judaism, they also incorporate cosmological views, metaphysical aspects, and so they talk about the physical realm in the Kabbalistic thought. And that has to do with things like quantum physics and conscientiousness.
Oh, wow.
So they overlap. So there's some overlap between cosmology and astrology and metaphysics, physical realms, quantum physics, and spirituality in different religious traditions.
Wow. And very well said at that, too. Very well said. Well, let me ask you this. I didn't interrupt you, did I?
No, go ahead.
Okay, cool, good. Because, man, you have a lot of very, very good information. I don't want to cut you off in any way. You are doing wonderful. So, okay, let me ask you this. With all the new technology that we do have in today's world, particularly in the space science and the new telescopes that we are putting out, like the James Webb Telescope, and how we're finding new planets and the age of the universe and how big the universe is, our solar system now. I mean, all this stuff this is stuff that we didn't know, barely even 20 years ago, you know what I mean? Well, how do you think religion is affected by that? I mean, did I ask this question like two different ways, or is that...
No. So space technology, exploration, and how it's going to be an advancement or detrimental to religion. Well, I wouldn't say it's necessarily detrimental. I have the philosophy of religion that it's something organic. And so religion, even though it has historical roots, you learn about it through socialization with your norms, your ethos, your values, your mores, right? You get socialized into it. You're in a society that holds specific views. But those things are constantly changing. And I it's my opinion and advice that people look at religion as a constant experience. It's constantly evolving. It's something organic. It's not something that's set in stone. No matter how much people think it is, it's really not. It's organically changing all the time. And it is. And so basically you're talking about philosophy, mental gymnastics. There's always debate on this way, that way, and everyone has different interpretations, like 1,000,001 interpretations of every faith, right? Or non-faith, right? Everyone has reasons for everything. So people can experience individualism in their spiritual practice, right, without having orthodox religion. Some people go with orthodox religion because they like that rules-based system, right? But all of it is organic. It takes place in the present. You experience it in the present, and nobody really lives by those philosophies per se, right? They inform their decisions, they inform the morals, but some people, they pick and choose, and they, make it like a pizza with different toppings, right?
Right, that's a good way. Yeah, that's a good way. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's organic, experience in the present. So who's to say in the future it's going to be what it was like whenever my grandparents were, living in Oklahoma or living in Japan, because they lived in Japan. They also lived in China. And, their religious practice changed because of their experiences in Japan and their experiences in China. So they became very type A personality with everything, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, a Christian in China who goes and wants to practice martial arts may have a different set of norms and morals and ethics based on cultural interpretation, based on Christian interpretation there, based on, their own personal values and stuff like that. So they're going to make their pizza a little different, and it's taking place in the present. It's not in the past.
Right. Very well said. That's big. I like very well said.
Yeah, so it's organic. It's something that takes place in the present. And we do inform ourselves by the histories, but not necessarily live by them. We don't live by the philosophy.
Right.
Yeah. So space technology, exploration, advancements, they will not be inherently detrimental to religion at all. That's totally against my view.
Yeah.
If anything, it's going to expand our horizons about the conflicts between scientific discoveries and religious teachings, or the cosmology of our understanding of the universe. It's going to lead to probably new tensions and debates within religion. But like I said, the organic nature of philosophy and religion taking place in the present, they're going to reprioritize, and they're going to do those mental gymnastics to reconcile their beliefs.
Oh, wow. Very
yeah,
well
because
said.
you can't argue with facts. You can't argue with facts, and science is facts.
No, you can't. Yeah. No, you can't. And that's the thing. A lot of people feel like they can argue with religion because it's not fact. However, that's why I think that science and religion can go hand in hand, because it's, a lot of people will say that they argue with, that's what they're doing, because it's all on blind faith. You know what I mean? And that's why they're like, well, science is fact, so But that was a very good, well done on that. That was a great answer.
Yeah. So scientific discoveries with space exploration, it's definitely going to make people question their beliefs of things that they hold strictly as a view or an interpretation in their faith. It's going to shift their worldview and lead to reevaluating their religious ideas and their human experience and the uniqueness of their personal beliefs and the divine purpose of the cosmos, right?
Right.
And we're going to have more technological advancements. I'm sorry, I have a speech issue here. Technological advancements, there will be moral conflicts, right, and ethical dilemmas and stuff like that because of people's values. And we see that in society now. That will politically have to evolve and, take place, because people, no matter how strong the beliefs they have, eventually they have to listen to facts, But there's some back and forth politically going with different ideas, and we see that in the political discourse in this country now, with different movements, like conservative movements with the Supreme Court, and how they were pushing religious practice of the banning abortion, right? And so for 100 years in America, people have been able to get abortions and decide about their own health care and their own bodies, and then they have taken that right away, right, making it criminal in many places. And that is one of those moral issues that comes out of religion and is in political discourse that people politicize. But, most of the time, if you put it into perspective and compare it to other beliefs, it's kind of inherently vague, right? So, for instance, people being born into poverty, there's so many people born into poverty. They have a war on poverty, but it's not really a war on poverty, right? They have more or less abandoned people in poverty in this country.
Right. Yeah.
Yet they don't care about that. So there's kind of a lack of care for the people who are living in poverty, even though there's a war on poverty. It's more like a war against poverty, people who are impoverished. So, so if they care about life so much, why do they leave people living in poverty?
Right, I know.
This country isn't rich enough to take care of those in poverty. It is. It absolutely is rich enough. So, they try to justify leaving people in poverty. They say, what costs us so much money? Well, we're the richest country in the world. We print our own money. And so the political discourse is just kind of something that you're going to see whenever there is scientific discoveries with space exploration and technological advances. And when there's facts, there's facts that abortion actually saves the life of the mother in many cases. And in some cases, a fetus without a brain, why would you want to carry a fetus without a brain? It's going to die as soon as it's born, right?
Right, yeah.
So there is circumstances where abortion should be allowed, but they have banned it all. So because of moral principle, which is really, kind of inhumane.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I believe, yes. I do, yeah. I think so too. I feel, yes. I'm right with you on that. So,
So there'll always be back and forth, people with the religious teachings, the stewardship, the sanctity of life, what is responsible, but when it gets to colonizing other planets, something we may see is galactic missionaries.
Hey, you
Can
know
you
what?
imagine?
Yeah.
Galactic missionaries. Intergalactic missionaries.
That's man, right? Lincoln, no, you got to stay here. Sorry. No, Lincoln, no.
Is Lincoln your dog? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, hi.
Oh, sorry, I totally lost you. Okay. Sorry about
What
that.
were you saying? Go ahead and repeat what you were saying.
Oh, well, like, the whole, man, like the whole missionary, man, and, like, God, welcome Star Wars, the missionaries for the galactic missionaries. That's, that's going to be, that is a very interesting point. That's a very interesting subject.
Well,
Yeah,
that's basics in Star Wars. I mean, you see the Force and how they become, what do you call it? What are they? Luke Skywalker, and they are
the Jedi.
The Jedi
Yeah.
tradition. There's actually a Jedi religion here on Earth now, and there's actual people practicing Jedi religion.
Man, you know what? There are. Yeah, you're exactly right. There really are.
Yeah, so in space, we're going to see that, and then, if we discover non-human biological, can you imagine what non-human biological faith looks like, or their religion looks like,
Oh, wow. No, man. God. At any moment, we are going to find one of the
Hello?
finding, can you hear me? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm going in and out bad.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Is it still doing it?
Oh, no, it's better now.
Okay. It is, we are going to find anytime. With the James Webb Telescope, we can look at a planet that are thousands of light years from us, and we can detect what kind of atmospheres they have, if there's methane coming off of it, what it's made out of, the makeup of it, if it's rocky, if it's a gassy planet, all these things that they can that we can read. I mean, if they haven't already, as we know, NASA is a huge liar. They lie about, obviously they probably already did find life, or there's there's UFOs everywhere. I mean, there's all these stories of abductions. I mean, I guess we have already found, alien life, but I mean, none of it is scientifically proven. You know what I mean?
Technically, we are alien life.
Exactly. Thank you. And that's exactly, and you bring that up to some religious people with that, and I mean, it's like going down as a heretic is just like, how could you? I mean, it can be a very fine line, you know what I mean, that you cross with religion and science, depending on. Man, I tell you what though, if you're in the room talking about it, I don't think anybody could argue, man. You have a good you describe it you the way that you word it. Nobody could argue with that shit.
Well, I mean, if we're giving the definition to the universe and our existence, generally we call that the cosmos. And so, we look at the world around us, and even in Oklahoma, like a lot of people, they know of, Native American tradition, and I always try to teach people about Native American beliefs, and, they look at how the world began, and in Cherokee, I believe it's Cherokee tradition, they have the spider at the bottom of the water, and the whole world was water, and then the spider came up to the top, and then, they have their ancestors, which are the stars, right, in the sky, and so all of them are looking down on you, and they have like this solace, I don't know if the word is solace, but they have like some kind of, connection to you. And so, a lot of the Native American and indigenous religions, they look at the sky, they look at the celestial alignments, the eclipses, the comets, and I think the Aztecs did that too, right? So they view it as a divine symbol of the heavens, and and they look at the solstice, the equinox, the lunar phases, you know, and all of that has a very spiritual, metaphysical significance in their lives, right? And so celestial bodies, astrological events really have a spiritual connection to human experience, right? And whenever you look at that, all religions kind of delve into that in one way or another. Some, they try to pull things from their text. Some pull it from nature, you know, but all of it is defining the cosmos, their existence in the universe, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm kind of, I'm with you on that too. It's the Indian or the you know, the Native American beliefs. If you were to ask me what my religious belief, that I coincide with the Native American belief as well. You know.
The Great Spirit.
Yep. That's you know, to me, I have a, I don't know, and I guess not so much or whatever word, that makes more sense to me than the Catholic faith or any, you know, because it's one that is goes back to Mother Nature. It goes back to the earth, and it goes back to, you know, we're all connected in that way.
Yeah, your tree is your cousin.
Yeah, you're right, exactly. And to me, that's what I think that I mean, I wish honestly, the white man would have never came over here, and we were evolved into that belief system over here, because this whole way society is now, you know, go to school, get a job. I mean, the schooling system was only made to be able to teach us or our kids. It only really taught just enough to where we could go work in a factory, and that's it. It was not to believe in yourself or to grow. It really was. I mean, it was just to teach you enough to work in a factory, be another robot, go home, and wait for the next day and repeat the process. You know? It was not made for us for self-growth, for, you know, any of that.
In sociology, we call this the iron cage.
Thank you. Perfectly. Exactly. That's what it is.
It's just
really,
about exploitation of your labor. Actually, that's more of a socialist and communist thinking from Karl Marx, because he's like the father of sociology.
It is Karl Marx, yes.
Yeah, he defines the conflict theory. The conflict theory is where the bourgeoisie is, I think it is the bourgeoisie exploiting the proletariat, something like that, or vice versa. And so basically, Karl Marx said, if it doesn't work for everyone in society, then it's not going to work. It's going to lead to conflict. So they have to give concessions to people if they're going to exploit their labor, right? And they have to be able to have a certain level of life, and that's where middle class comes in. So you are in the iron cage, my friend.
Yeah, man, and I feel it. I think everybody does. I mean, and it doesn't teach us anything about what we need to be taught to live. I mean, it doesn't. You know, I would rather grow up in a community where we all work together to, you know, one person does, and some people call that like a socialist or
a commune.
You know, a communist world. But to me, I mean, I don't know. To me, I like that idea better. But
there's communes all over the world, even in the U.S.
I know. I thought about going and being a part of that one. What is that? Slob City or God, where is that in Arizona? I forget where it is, but I don't know. But then I'm like, maybe.
Might be fun for an experience.
Right, exactly. There you go. For an experience, it'd be.
I like cultural experiences, so I would totally be down to do that just for a cultural experience. You know.
Right. Yeah. Me too. And that would be And you said it perfect for for an experience. That's exactly right. You know, I don't know. There's so much. But see, I'd like to try to, or at least I hope, I like to think of myself as trying to get as much knowledge as I can before I, you know, instead of just diving into something and then saying I know about it. I like to actually really,
experience it
and say that that I tried or did it, experience it.
And then what? After I guess colonization of Mars, and we get in contact with real space lizards.
Yeah, right.
Change their views.
Yeah,
that's what we're talking
exactly.
about. Science advancement in space exploration and technology is going to change everything. It's most certainly changing people today. And, the religious practice today is not the same as it was when my grandmother was, in her 20s, right? And so the world is going to change. Religious practice is going to change, and that is due to science. So it's definitely not a negative thing. It's just a natural thing, I think. So, yeah.
Very well said. Yeah. No, and that's exactly right.
It's the organic process of spirituality.
Right. and that's such a good, good way to say it and look at it, because it's you're gonna laugh at me here, but I'm actually walking into Walmart trying to find this computer piece as we speak about all this shit. I hate Walmart, but I gotta find this.
Technically, it's not like space lizards don't exist. We see them on TV all the time, or at least we've grown up with them in Star Wars, and we grew up with them in Star Trek, and it's not like it's a far-fetched idea. There's going to be non-human biologicals in the universe, and they confirmed it just like last week. They had a whistleblower in Congress go and present the information to Congress. So they pretty much confirmed that the government's been hiding it all of this time.
Yeah. That
they have non-human biologicals that they collected at shipwrecks, right? Or space wrecks or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Spaceship wrecks.
Right. Spaceship wrecks. That's exactly it. It's I'm real interested to see what is going to come out of, what's going to be going on in the next 100 years or 50 years. Shit, 20 years. 20 years ago, so much has happened in 20 years. Now, I think 20 years ago, we still only knew about 9 planets that were in our solar system.
Yeah, and you know what? The pilots that were doing the debriefing in Congress, they were talking about how the spaceship was not aggressive, and how they could imagine if they were actually aggressive towards us, how would it actually be? So they said that they have these sightings all the time, so many a year around the country from pilots and government officials and stuff like that. So it makes you wonder, are they space missionaries? Are they doing intergalactic evangelism? Why are they here, right?
Right.
Why?
Yeah. And like you said, space, space, not evangelism.
Space missionaries.
Space missionaries, thank you.
They're spreading the gospel among the stars.
And man, it's so, and God, and God, it makes more sense than, because that's honestly what a lot of people say that they are. But a lot, and whether they're hostile or not, we have a very hostile nature to us. And I think that's, I don't know if that could be something bred into our DNA, if it's something that's less or more, you know what I mean? I don't know, but
well, that takes us back to Darwin.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah, so, are we so aggressive that we're spreading religious faith beyond the realm of Earth to the rest of the cosmos? And will we go so far as to do the things that those people in the past have done? Or will there be non-human biologicals who are space missionaries who are more aggressive than us?
Right. Oh, is that it?
DBI to HDMI, though.
I think, I'm sorry, hang on real quick, sorry. Is
that
what
no
this
worries.
would have been? Yeah. I think that is it. This one? Sorry, I'm looking for...
DGA, yeah.
This is it?
Right? What are you connecting to?
Computer.
Yeah, you should be good.
Okay, so...
How modern is your computer?
Do what?
How modern is your
computer? It's not real modern. It's not real...
You don't even need one of those. Most modern.
Yeah, but...
Most modern was like HDMI, I think.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, but I can't get that. It's got to have this part onto it, so I think this is going to be it.
Either that one or that one.
Or this one?
I'm guessing it'd probably be this one, though.
Yeah, okay. Perfect, thank you. Yeah, thank you, man. Hello, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay,
so
sorry.
I know we should probably wrap this up. It's going a little bit longer than intended, and then I think that, you have a lot to work with if you're going to edit this.
Yes,
but I just have a few comments for the listeners out there. I hope you guys reflect on what it means to have ethical and philosophical questions around religion and space, exploration, especially what it's going to mean to have a space colony, and what is it going to look like whenever we have to do interface activities with non-human biologicals who want to proselytize to us, you know? I mean, can you imagine what that's going to be like, and how is that going to impact your faith?
Yeah, very well said. Yeah, and that's very well said. Yeah, and you've answered all the questions. Yeah, you nailed it. You've done a great job, and I will. Yeah, we can wrap this up. Man, you did wonderful. Is there anything else you need from me? Any questions? Any more content or anything?
Yeah. So, what's your feedback? What are you feeling? And just go all in real quick and tell me what's going on in your head.
Well, okay. So, with this whole thing one, you nailed it. You answered, because see, here's when I first brought all this up, when I was first thinking about it, I've been wanting to get a hold of somebody that I was wondering if religious people were mad about this whole calling alien a god, or you know what I mean, or calling God an alien, or anything like that. You know what I mean? And I was curious as of what they thought about it. And with that being said, I thought maybe too that I wondered if how, I'm trying to think of the right word, and it's not coming to mind. But you have put me very much. I have a better understanding. You have a great way of wording and a great way of explaining it. You've answered all my curiosities as far as how religion would take on its take to science, and how science would. And I like how you in the end, or in all of it, that if they were something that would both work off of each other, that they both would not take away from each other. Rather,
they're mutually complementary in nature.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There's a symbiotic relationship between religion and science and spirituality. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Thank you. And in spirituality, and I'm really happy with this whole interview. I'm probably going to hang up and think of a million other things that I would have. It's like asking somebody, what do you want for Christmas? And you're like, and then as soon as someone walks away, you're like, God, I want this.
Hello? 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 Hello?
Hello?
Yes, it went out.
Man,
I don't know what you were saying, but I just want to say thank you so much for the opportunity, for allowing me to talk to you, to deepen the knowledge and understanding of what is the cosmos, and what its relation is to the divine.
Thank you. Yes. Did you hear anything that I just said? Did you hear that?
I did not. No.
Oh, okay. I was saying that I love the way that you presented yourself. I love the way that you presented yourself, in the way of how you describe how you have a reasoning behind why you believe, or I said it perfect earlier. But you did a great job with the way that you worded everything, and you worded it in a way that I don't know. I said it so perfect earlier. Of course, my phone went out at that time, but I love how you work you were able to put them together to be able to relate and not separate them and keep them as a way to, because I think that they're things that work together. You know what I mean? I don't think science and religion should. I don't think they should be are working against each other. Rather, should be working with each other. And you did a great job with describing how they do work together and how they do feed off each other.
They do, absolutely. I mean, scientific development, technology, those things, they are based in facts, and it's hard to argue with facts, even though people try to. That's part of the political discourse. But whenever it comes to faith, it really is informed by scientific knowledge. It truly is. You know? I mean, in the end, people have to reconcile their beliefs with what science says.
Wait. Say that again. Sorry, my phone just cut out again.
Oh, yeah, I said science really does infer religious belief, because in the end, people have to reconcile their beliefs with what the science says.
Very well said. Absolutely. Very well said.
Even if there is political discourse in between, ultimately, science will infer and change beliefs, because we're talking about beliefs and philosophy, and it is organic. It is taking place in the present, and people are going to pick and choose, and they're going to make that pizza however they want. They're going to do mental gymnastics, and there's a lot of mental gymnastics when it comes to religious beliefs. A lot of times, even in spirituality, people try to jump through hoops to justify different things and why it should be this way. And, you know, I mean, with philosophy, you can kind of jump from play polka dots, right? Like one, I guess, what is that? Crossword puzzle dot thing. I don't know. Whatever that thing is where you connect the dots. Yeah. Right. There's a lot of mental gymnastics. Yeah. So.
Right. Exactly. Very well said. Very well said. Very well said.
Different strokes for different folks. That's
there you go. Yeah. There you go. Well, Candice,
everyone wants to paint a different picture.
Hell yeah. Well, Candice, you did more than great. You talked everything. I'm going to leave it on that note that you just said, because that was a perfect way to narrow that all down to to what we've been doing today.
Well, I appreciate the time.
Do what? I'm sorry?
Oh, I said I appreciate the time that I got to speak.
Oh, yeah. And also, if you would you be interested in coming back on anytime ever? I know you're a busy young woman, but
yeah, sure.
Would you? Okay.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, sweetheart, thank you so much for your time, and I will talk to you very soon. Good luck good luck with everything. I know right now you're off for summer, aren't you, in school?
Yes. Yep.
Awesome. Well, you have a very, very good vacation out of school for summer. Have a good summer, and I will be talking to you soon, sweetheart.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And there you have it with Candice. Man, if that wasn't a suicidal career move, man, it wasn't so bad. Man, and actually, a lot of that, we pretty much covered all the base. I mean, she was very knowledgeable in religion, man. I would love to be able to be that knowledgeable. That was a great show, but and then we touched all bases. Candice, I appreciate it. Everybody, we are going to, in the next couple of days, have, I've got 3 or 4 more shows coming up. I wish I had my list. On cosmic origins, Betelgeuse. Man, guys, everybody, Betelgeuse. we might get to see a supernova in our lifetime. Of course, they say, if it's going to happen, it's going to be, I don't know. We won't see it for another how many thousand years. But if we do, it's supposedly going to be brighter than the moon. Watch out for that one, because that's going to be a fun one. Tune in for next week. Great ones. Everybody into ToNoAvaiL, another fun show of the Infinite Cosmos. Have a good one.